All right, and we are joined by our Quidditch correspondent, Abby. Hey, Abby, how's it going?
Going good, guys, and hey there, sports fans. It is Abby here, and I'm about to hit you with all the glorious action witnessed today on the pitch. As we know, Malfoy's dad bought his way onto the team, and apparently, if you are as insufferable as Malfoy, the cost is 7 of the best brooms money can buy. Sure is a good thing Daddy's rich there, Draco. As expected, our team was tense during the pregame pep talk. The day was a muggy one with thunder rolling in. This, however, did not discourage the large crowd in attendance. The whistle blows 14 players up and we are underway. A vicious bludger sets upon Potter at once, and everyone's favorite wacky and wild pair of twins go to work to get this crazed bludger on a new course. Attempt after attempt to rid Harry of this nuisance results in failure after failure. And seriously, if I could name this bludger, I'd call him Colin Creevy. He just won't leave Potter alone. Harry can't escape him. It just keeps coming back. It won't go away. That bludger is a total Colin. The rain is really rolling in and we are down 60-0. Relentless in the pursuit of our seeker. Fred and George have no other options at this point and are officially escorting Potter around the pitch to prevent the inevitable injuries. This obviously tampered with bludger is trying to inflict serious harm. With his set of bodyguards flanking his sides, Potter's seeking abilities have noticeably diminished. You can see the tension rising as an attempt to signal for a timeout is a narrowly missed disaster. The timeout gives our team an opportunity to re-strategize. Once gameplay resumed, we see the twins have been instructed to leave Potter on his own. And here it comes again. Potter's stalker has sent Harry into defensive mode just to stay on his broom. The looping and swooping, whirling and swirling can only be described as the weirdest interpretive dance ever. Effective, but strange. Now here's where it gets good, people. Malfoy, one to never miss a chance to be a condescending little git, slips him. Sorry, let me read this. Malfoy, one to never let a chance to be a condescending slips by. Okay, I got it. Now here's where it gets good, people. Malfoy, one to never let a chance to be a condescending little git slip by him, makes a fatal mistake. Having no bearing or good sense, Malfoy opens his stupid mouth and captures Potter's attention. With this glance, Potter sees the snitch. So thank you, Draco. Because of you, and the fact that you have not an ounce of sportsmanship in your body, we shall now crush this match and your soul with it. Here's the problem, guys. The snitch is so close to Malfoy that any movement to capture it on Harry's part would give away its position. And if Malfoy sees it, he is in such close proximity that surely there would be no trouble with him catching it. Potter wisely chooses to freeze in hopes to keep eyes on but not give away the position. While this is wise and a strategic gameplay, it did not, however, take into account the obsession of this insane bludger. With eyes transfixed on his snitch, Potter is smoked. Ooh, that hurts. In the arm by his stalker, and there's no doubt about it, that one's broken. Down an arm, and I'm sure in pain, Potter makes his move. He wraps his fingers of his unbroken arm around the snitch, and the broken one hanging there is as useless as Filch's wand. He ends and wins our game in a no-hands free fall to the ground, crashing both his body and the hopes of all Slytherin alike. Here we go, guys. Gryffindor wins. All in all, great game. I'm sure Potter's arm will be just fine. I mean, what's a broken arm to a wizard more than a mere annoyance? The sweetest of victories was had today. Please take a moment. Let it sink in. The caliber of which we dealt with today. You have Slytherin with superior flying power, capitalizing on every opportunity to taunt and gloat, and their nauseating sense of entitlement that just oozes off them, versus Gryffindor, who starts beaters with brooms probably older than my parents, a bludger that is a serious stage 5 clinger, if you know what I mean, and not to mention, Potter has a broken arm mid-air, yet here we are, the good guys still come out on top, a day as it should be, glorious. Sending it back to you guys.
Wow, that was great. I feel like we were all sitting there in the stands watching it with you. I have one question for your Quidditch expertise and sporting knowledge. So this is a quote from this chapter. It says, Harry woke early on Saturday morning and lay for a while thinking about the coming Quidditch match. He was nervous, mainly at the thought of what Wood would say if Gryffindor lost, but also at the idea of facing a team mounted on the fastest racing brooms gold could buy. He had never wanted to beat Slytherin so badly, and half an hour of laying there with his insides churning, he got up, dressed, and went down to breakfast early, where he found the rest of the Gryffindor team huddled at the long, empty table, all looking uptight and not speaking much. Do you understand this feeling of the nervousness before the match and not being able to eat or not really want to talk to anybody?
It is a certain intensity that I feel like all athletes on that big day, you know the feeling. I'd say it's a pretty common thing when you want so bad to win and there's so much at stake. break. It's just you either beat it or you succumb to the nervousness. Gryffindor, we got this.
Perfect. Well, as always, we really appreciate your time, and we will see you next match.
See you later.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast that must not be named. I am Luke.
I am Melissa.
And we are here doing Chapter 10, The Rogue Bludger of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This chapter is 21 pages, and that is 6.16% of this book. Melissa, what happened in this chapter?
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 10, The Rogue Bludger. As classes continue, Professor Lockhart's teaching style becomes theatrical, using Harry to help act out his books. After one lesson in particular, Hermione approaches Lockhart and asks him to sign permission for the restricted section. Lockhart signs without even looking at the paper. After retrieving the book Most Potent Potions, Harry, Ron, and Hermione head to Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, since that is the spot least likely to have anyone bother them. The potion is extremely complicated, and the boys are hesitant, but Hermione convinces them that making this potion, and stealing the supplies that are needed, was worth it to figure out who is attacking the Muggleborns. The next Saturday was the Gryffindor Quidditch match against Slytherin. Almost immediately, Harry gets attacked by a bludger. Then it comes for him again, and again. This continues to happen, while Gryffindor beaters Fred and George try to help Harry avoid the malfunctioning ball as rain begins to pelt them. Without the beaters to defend against the other team, Slytherin quickly goes up 60-plus points. A timeout is called, and the Gryffindor team discuss strategies for the bludger. Wood is frustrated that Fred and George aren't helping anyone else. Harry wants Fred and George to leave him to deal with the bludger alone. No one, except Wood, likes this idea, but with the twins hovering, Harry will never find the snitch and end the game. The game starts again, and Harry takes off in an insane flying pattern, simultaneously swerving to avoid the bludger and searching for the snitch, which he finds hovering next to Malfoy's ear. Malfoy, too busy laughing at Harry to actually play his position, doesn't notice the snitch. Harry takes a bludger to the arm, but still manages to fly right at Malfoy and catch the snitch. Back on the ground, dealing with a broken arm, Harry is again accosted by Lockhart, who insists on helping. And by helping, I don't mean he repairs the bones in Harry's arms. I mean he removes the bones in Harry's arms. Once in the hospital wing, Madame Pomfrey yells at Harry for allowing Lockhart to take out his bones. She gives him some Skelegro, which is horrible. His team and his best friends are there, ready to hang out and have fun and celebrate their win, but Madame Pomfrey shoos them all out. Harry wakes up in the middle of the night to sharp stabbing pains in his arms and finds Dobby. Harry discovers that Dobby, trying to help Harry stay safe, blocked the entrance to platform 9 3/4 and bewitched the bludger to hurt Harry just enough to send him home. While defending his actions, Dobby lets slip that the Chamber of Secrets has been opened before, but won't tell Harry who did it. As footsteps approach, Dobby disappears, and in comes Dumbledore and McGonagall, carrying a statue that used to be Colin Creevey, now transfigured.
All right. Well, let's talk about some characters that were introduced this chapter. We have several mentions. I don't think we had any new meetings. I think these were all mentions.
I think so.
Of a Transylvanian villager, a Yeti with a head cold, a lettuce-eating vampire, and the Wagga Wagga werewolf.
I feel like there needs to be a dance move with that.
The Wagga Wagga.
The Wagga Wagga.
So I don't think we had any real new location introductions either this chapter. Let me know if you think I missed any.
Other than maybe, like, did they talk about any of the places he went to meet the Wagga Wagga werewolf for the Transylvanian villager? I don't really think that's...
Yeah, I don't think there were really any even mentions.
I don't either.
So, let's move along to Magicabulary. We first hear of the Babbling Curse, the Amorphous Charm, Skelligro, the House Elf Enslavement, first time that's actually been coined, and also a Bicorn, which I assume is very similar to a unicorn.
I would assume there's two.
Twice as many horns.
Double the horn, double the fun.
Double the horns.
Oh my gosh. Right, so the illustration of this book is a picture of Harry in bed with a wiggle arm.
Yeah, that looks like maybe he's trying out the new Wagga Wagga werewolf dance. I don't know.
Maybe a little bit.
There's a wibble. There's definitely a wobble to the arm.
He's got some hair going on too. Can I just point that out? Like that's some rough bedhead.
Yeah, which is a little weird because we know his hair doesn't fall outside of his normal windblown type like.
Well, but it always looks a
mustache.
mess.
Right, it just looks a little more bedheady than I think. But maybe this is a better depiction of it.
Yep.
All right, so what kind of notes did you have for this chapter?
Well, let's start with defense against the dark arts classes. I think Harry acting like a werewolf is really funny.
Yeah.
Because he's a terrible actor.
Yeah. He's like, no, a little bit more from you. Yeah, I think that whole scene was kind of funny, and how it's another chance for Harry to be put on display for Lockhart, or by Lockhart, I should say.
And I get that Harry feels at least this one time that he has to, but I like for the most part it's like this horrible chore that he's stuck doing.
Yeah, it's a pain for him for sure.
Yeah. So he's so tired. Okay, my next thought is Lockhart is a git, like to use a Ron word. Like he's just kind of an idiot. His lessons are simply acting out his books. He signed the piece of paper for them to get most potent potions without even looking at it. He helps Harry by removing the bones in his arm. He just is an idiot.
Yeah.
He's driving me crazy.
Yeah, his teaching abilities and maybe even magical abilities, I think, should be firmly in question.
And social skills?
Yeah, it's he's
Some
definitely
awareness of others?
He's definitely missing a few things here.
Yeah. I did really like, here we go, we're going to do our Weasley twin shout out, a requisite Weasley twin shout out. They had a great chapter. I really like how when the bludger was targeting Harry, they absolutely went and protected him. Like, that's what you're supposed to do as beaters. And granted, like, they ignored the other bludger and it didn't help out their team, but it was their job to protect their player, and they did it without question. And then they got angry at Wood for not understanding why that is important. Of course I'm going to protect Harry. Of course we have to keep him safe. Like, that's what we do. Mm-hmm. I really like that. Yeah,
I think this definitely kind of influenced my previous Weasley twins as most valuable friends for Harry. Back in book 1, we talked about that. And I think we're going to continue to see parts where the Weasley twins really come out and stand up for and with Harry, where you might not expect someone else to.
Right.
So keep an eye out on that.
Can we just give a slow clap to the idiot Malfoy? And how horribly, horribly terrible of a Quidditch player he is. Like, it just says so much about his character that he can sit there and be more focused on making fun of Harry than, actually playing his position. And the snitch was right by his head. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Karma.
It's coming back for you.
Yep. I really enjoyed that. And my last final thought on this is, why can't Harry have a party in the hospital wing?
It could be disruptive to other students that are in there.
It doesn't sound like there were any other students. It
sounded like it was pretty empty. It might have said that.
So, where is the party, and why can't he have that? I think that sounds like a great way to keep his mind off of it.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe Madame Pomfrey is just worried about his recovery so much. And she definitely seems to play a little bit of an overbearing...
Or maybe she doesn't like noise.
She probably doesn't. It's probably usually pretty quiet in there.
True.
Her and Madame Pence probably get along pretty well.
But, maybe they're sisters or something.
Could be.
Like, related.
Yeah. So, my first note is the comment that Lockhart has to Harry where he says, "I hear you're a useful player. I was a seeker too." And he goes on to say how he was asked to play for the national squad but decided to devote his life to defending the dark art, fighting against the dark arts.
Do you feel like he needs a fact checker?
Yes.
I feel like we need like the Google version, the Wizarding Google version of fact checking for Lockhart. Mm-hmm. Every time he talks, you never know what's going to actually come out of his mouth.
I just thought it was funny that he says you are a useful player. Not like, oh, you're pretty good, which seems to be the case. Like, he's pretty naturally talented.
He's pretty naturally talented.
A useful player.
You'll do.
It's again downplaying Harry's famousness and well-known talents.
Yep.
To uphold himself a little bit higher. Interesting.
I wonder if he's threatened by Harry.
I think he might be. I think he might be because he's clearly not the most famous person in the school.
Clearly. Well,
Lockhart's not that.
Even without Harry, he's not the most famous person in the school.
Right. So, Hermione kind of showing that she knows how to butter up teachers and authorities a little bit better. In this case, she actually kind of believes what she's asking. She realizes she's doing it to get what they need. Because in book 1, she kind of butters up Hagrid, kind of telling him that, but you're so important. Of course, Dumbledore will tell you these really important things. And she kind of uses that to their advantage, getting information. And in here, she basically, kind of butters up Lockhart to get the signature.
Yeah, but I don't really think what she's saying to Lockhart, I don't think she really thinks that getting the book will help her understand it.
Can you read it out for us?
Absolutely. So it says,
Professor Lockhart, Hermione stammered, I wanted to get this book out of the library, just for background reading. She held out the piece of paper, her hand shaking slightly. But the thing is, it's in the restricted section of the library, so I need a teacher to sign for it. I'm sure it would help me understand what you are saying in Gadding with Ghouls about slow-acting venoms. Ah, Gadding with Ghouls, said Lockhart, taking the note from Hermione and smiling widely at her. Possibly my favorite book. You enjoyed it? Oh, yes, said Hermione eagerly. So clever, the way you tracked that last one with the tea strainer.
That's the part that she believes.
I agree with you that, yes, it was very clever, but I think when she's saying that getting the
book side, no, but the way she butters him up, that's the side that I think she believes.
Oh, that she actually thinks it was a good idea.
Right.
And it probably is a good idea.
Yes. Just the fact that she's using, where last time with Hagrid, she was clearly kind of lying to him a bit.
True.
That's what I was getting at. This time she's a little more selling what she already believes to.
Or she's using what she knows.
Yeah.
She's pretty clever, that Hermione.
She is pretty clever. The most potent potions illustrations description they're pretty funny.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Which included a man who seemed to have been turned inside out, and a witch sprouting several extra pairs of arms out of her head.
What are those potions for? Like, what are they doing?
I don't know. And then the Polyjuice Potion one
was decorated with drawings of people halfway through transforming into other people. Harry sincerely hoped the artist had imagined the looks of intense pain on their faces.
Well, if that's not something to deter you.
Right. I wonder why it's in the restricted section. Sounds like it's the right place for it.
I agree.
So let's get to the Quidditch match. And Oliver Wood, in the pregame saying, get to the snitch or die trying. And then the Weasley twins say, so no pressure. But, Oliver must be a pretty good leader, at least for creating loyalty and determination from, the one player on the field that actually matters.
Right.
Clearly the Seeker's the only player that matters.
Nobody else matters.
I think it kind of shows that at least Wood knows how to influence and encourage Harry in a way that benefits the team, not necessarily in a way that's good for Harry, as the Weasley twins call Wood out for. They say, it was your fault for telling him or die trying because, he's going to exactly do that.
Yep.
Because he respects you and he loves playing and he respects the game and he'll sacrifice himself to do this. So
right.
It's interesting, all three sides of that. You have the twins, Wood, and Harry, and how they all interact with the game.
And I agree. And I think the only one really that I question in that triangle is really Wood because of his fanaticism.
See, I think I question Harry more because he needs to be able to see that from Wood. Wood, you need that in a leader. You need someone who's going to go out there and push people and encourage people. And
I suppose, but keep in mind, Wood is a 16-year-old.
Sure.
And the twins are 14 and Harry's only 12. So if my leader, who's this big 16-year-old kid, is telling me go get the snitch, me as a 12-year-old, I'm going to go get the snitch. Like, yes, because I have love of the game and respect for the game and respect, but mostly it's the respect for the older student. He's my leader. He's my boss. And Harry is not old enough to be able to question that.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes, so I think part of it too is that responsibility on Wood's piece to realize like he is in a position of leadership, and leadership doesn't mean winning. Leadership means taking care of your people.
Sure. Yeah. I agree. I think Oliver does a good job at the motivating.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe needs to pull back. And
I think think his perspective is just a little skewed.
It's a little far down that rabbit hole of winning is the only thing.
Right. It's slightly crazy.
Yeah. And then, after we see Harry's rubbery glove arm, because he said it looked like he had a rubbery glove on, because it just looked like a flesh-colored glove.
Right.
And, he loses all the bones in his arm and goes to the hospital wing. We find out that Dobby blocked the barricade.
Oh, Dobby.
What do you think about Dobby coming in again here?
Oh, if Dobby keeps trying to help him, he's going to kill him.
And we find out that he bewitched the bludger.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he stopped them getting on the train.
Right. Yeah, that was, I said block the barricade first.
Block the barricade. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention, sort of.
So, I don't know. Like, there must be something really going on in Dobby's mind.
I was going to say, in real world or in Dobby's brain?
Well, I mean, we've also seen, the Chamber of Secrets has been opened as well, right? So,
right.
I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with what Dobby's up to.
Like, maybe Dobby knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
But why would the Chamber of Secrets be tracking Harry?
I don't know. I mean...
Because he's not.
Muggle-born.
Yeah.
He's half, right? So...
Not really.
See, I'm not sure how that falls. I guess it's...
second generation. I mean, technically, he's the son of two wizards.
Right, two magicals.
Yeah.
So his mother would deal with that as being a Muggle-born.
Right.
But, yeah, I'm not sure what the purebloods really
But then he's a Muggle-raised.
Right.
Well, still, yeah. So, I don't know.
A quarter?
3/4, quarter Muggle.
Okay, well, let's get into your 5 burning questions.
Question 1. Why does Hermione keep defending Lockhart?
Because she's an idiot.
Yeah, fangirl syndrome like crazy.
Instant idiot.
Yeah, it's annoying.
All offense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I have no problem with that. Usually I do.
I know, and that's why I was like, I don't
feminist in the room.
I don't like to pull that
time,
card, but you're just being an idiot.
Yep. But she's 12. Like, it's okay to be an idiot when you're 12.
Right. And I'm not saying it's wrong of her.
When you're 25,
I'm just saying
not.
that's what it is.
Yep.
She's being dumb.
All right. How realistic, question 2, how realistic is it that Hermione, Ron, and Harry can keep their potion brewing for 21 days and no one will notice?
I think they're placing a lot of faith in Moaning Myrtle being a strong deterrent. So hopefully nothing changes on her tantrums and things that keep people out of there. And also that Percy Weasley doesn't keep maybe tracking them to see if they keep going in and out of the girls' bathroom. I think those are like the two main
right.
It's
almost like they need to keep instigating Myrtle. They need like picking at her a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to make it bad.
Remind her how dead she is.
Oh. All right. I have a poll. So this is a poll both for us and for listeners at home. This is a poll. So yes or no, who wants Dobby to protect them? Crickets, crickets, crickets. No one in the studio is raising their hand.
Nope.
Listeners at home? Yeah, I don't see any of you raising your hand either.
I like where his heart is.
Yes, me too. Dobby's got a great heart.
I think, however, it's just maybe a little much on the way he's doing this.
I wouldn't say maybe.
Yeah,
it's pretty intensely wrong.
It's dumb.
All right. Question 4. Who opened the Chamber of Secrets before?
Salazar Slytherin.
But he created the chamber.
Well, he had to open it at least once while he was creating it, right?
Unless it stayed open until he closed it.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm going to say that it was...
Well, who are our candidates that we could point to right now?
All right, well, it's an heir of Slytherin.
Right. So likely someone who was maybe put into Slytherin? I mean, I would say odds are, at least on that.
Yeah, and we don't know many people outside of Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle. So maybe one of their...
descendants or ancestors.
Ancestors, although if Crabbe and Goyle are any indication of their family trees, I'm going to go with likely not them.
I was going to say, they don't seem all that bright.
Yeah. So, could it be a former Malfoy?
I mean, signs point that way. I mean, they seem to be cunning and intelligent.
Okay.
So, I think that's...
It's a realistic, prediction. Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. What does Dumbledore mean by, the question is not who, the question is how?
I think he knows who opened it previously, is maybe what he's getting at.
Okay.
But is for some reason holding that information close to the chest. I don't really know why. I think maybe I'll have to kind of just table this.
Well, my thought would be, is he assuming then that it's not a student, a current student?
I mean, that's what it seems like he's leaning towards.
Okay. So we have to assume then Dumbledore thinks it's not one of the students in his school right now.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it was 50 years ago, there's no way one of the students that's there right now could have done it.
Right. Okay.
All right, Melissa. In this chapter, what was your favorite line?
My favorite line was Ron speaking to Hermione.
I never thought I'd see the day when you'd be persuading us to break the rules, said Ron.
Like, because it's true. Here's Hermione. I don't care if you want to, but I'm gonna, do this because I think it's more important. And they're just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Like, sure, we will not do the right thing. Like, it's so backwards.
Yeah, they are a bad influence on her.
They are a bad
But a
influence
good
on her. But
influence at the
here
same time.
she is being the bad influence on them.
I meant, historically, they've made her worse.
Or better perspective.
I know.
I love her. I love this version of Hermione. Like the just this side of on right, or that her convictions will allow her to cross that rule line.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like guidelines anyway.
Yeah. She's justifying the means a little bit with
Yes.
the ends, which the means that she's using fairly harmless. I mean, she hasn't done anything that's really questionable.
Right.
In my book of morals, at least. I don't think she's doing anything that's
Because she's not
hurting
anybody.
anybody. She's not doing anything to swindle anybody. She's just maybe slightly bending the rules or tricking somebody in a way that's not going to hurt them. It's only going to benefit everybody.
Yep.
Is her perspective. So I think that's pretty reasonable.
Okay.
So I had a couple
I see that.
in this chapter. I don't know which one I'm going to pick.
He's hemming and hawing over here, people. I kind of like your second one.
I'm going to go ahead and do a couple honorable mentions.
There you go.
Just because we haven't done that in a while. So my first honorable mention is, Slytherin has better brooms than us, he began. No point denying it, but we've got better people on our brooms. We've trained harder than they have. We've been flying in all weathers. Too true, muttered George Weasley. I haven't been properly dry since August. And we're going to make them rue the day they let that little bit of slime Malfoy buy his way onto their team. This was a very good role
motivational
for Oliver Wood to play. I thought he did a very good job at, saying, hey, we have the right people. We do work hard. It's just a good way for him to motivate the team for sure. My next honorable mention was talking about the polyjuice potion that they were going to brew while Harry was drinking Skelligro. And Harry goes, I hope it tastes better than this stuff. And Ron says, if it's got bits of Slytherins in it, you've got to be joking. Oh, that was pretty funny. And then whenever Dobby tells Harry that it was his bludger, his rogue bludger, Harry goes, what do you mean, your bludger? You made that bludger try and kill me? Not kill you, sir. Never kill you, said Dobby, shocked. Dobby wants to save Harry Potter's life. Better sent home grievously injured than remain here, sir. Dobby only wanted Harry Potter hurt enough to be sent home. Oh, is that all? Said Harry angrily. I don't suppose you're going to tell me why you wanted me sent home in pieces. Harry's frustration is right on. I mean, he's like, yeah, stop helping me because you're gonna break me in half. Like,
right.
Let's not do this.
Knock it off, please. Yeah.
Oh man, Dobby, we got to get past this.
I know you gotta fix your methods.
So my favorite line comes from right when Harry kind of groggily opens his eyes on the ground after he falls off his broom, and it says, he came around, rain falling on his face, still lying on the field, with someone leaning over him. He saw a glitter of teeth. Oh no, not you, he moaned. And then Lockhart goes on to say, oh, doesn't know what he's saying, and blah, blah, blah.
No, exactly knows what he's saying.
It's just described as a glitter of teeth. Like, it's perfect.
I would say in general, Harry's emotions towards other people are spot on.
Yeah.
Towards Lockhart, towards Dobby, towards, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
We point out we never talked about the fact that Colin Creevy is now petrified.
Ooh, yeah. Colin is petrified.
Check. We've mentioned it. So he won't be around to annoy Harry anymore. Poor Colin.
Poor Colin.
I mean, I feel bad. He's the first person to get petrified. Because before it was just the cat.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yes, I know.
Yep, book check.
Okay, check.
All right. Well, to finish off our chapter superlatives, Melissa, who was your chapter MVP this chapter?
This chapter, it was kind of difficult because it was very in sections of things that happened. We have the getting of the book, and then we have like the game, and then we have the post-game debacle. But I really went with Hermione. I know she gets them a lot. I went with Hermione because I really think her standing up to the boys and that speech of like, I don't care, what do grades matter? What does this matter? Because we need to solve this problem. We need to, we have to fix this. this. I think that was very honorable of her.
Sure, definitely. She's pretty consistently a good, strong character.
She earns her Gryffindor stripes.
Yeah, just in different ways than you would normally think of.
Yeah, she's not one to like run headfirst into danger, but she's definitely gonna find a way to solve problems, even if it means
she's gonna do what she believes is just.
Yes,
she's very, very just.
Yes.
My honorable mention, and I'm kind of teetering between
17 people.
1 and 2 people.
Would you like a dual honorable mention?
No, because I did that for the chapter, the favorite line.
Okay, fine.
I really want to give it to Harry for his.
Ooh, we don't do that often.
I know, and that's why I'm thinking maybe I'll pull it back. But I think he did a lot of. I'm not going to give it to him, but the reason I'm considering him is because of the emotion that we see from him and how accurate he is on Dobby and on Lockhart. But then, maybe he goes a little too far by listening to Oliver Wood blatantly. So that's why I'm going to pull it back a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to give it to the Weasley twins.
Oh, yeah.
And they are, yet again, just probably the best thing on the Quidditch field that Harry could possibly have. You know, they're exactly the type of friends that he needs around because he doesn't always watch his back very well, I think. And I don't mean that and he's lackadaisical, but he's so committed on where he's going and what the objective is that sometimes, hey, if you have 2 giant redhead Weasley twins flanking your shoulders, that's only going to help you out. So I'm going to give it to them just for being there for him and for sticking up for him against Wood.
Okay. And that wraps it up for this week. If you'd like to chat with us throughout the week, any comments, questions, feel free to answer our poll about if you would like Dobby to be your defender.
We'll put a Twitter poll out this week.
There you go. So find us on Twitter at NotNamedPodcast. You can send us an email at thepodcast@gmail.com. You can find this show and our family of shows, including the podcast that drinks and knows things, on our website, thepodcastthat.com.
Subscribe and rate and leave comments on iTunes. Those comments really do help us get more exposure and let us know what you think of the show for sure. Thank you.
Next week, join us for our 5-chap recap when we talk about chapters 6 through 10 with our first time listener or our first time reader. We've got a new section that we're going to be introducing next week, as well as our journey into the unrestricted section. We have our signed Lockhart paper. Please bring yours as well. 2 weeks from now, we will then hit chapter 11.
The Dueling Club. Stay imaginary.
Thanks.